If you are looking for some of the best games to play on your PS5 right now, this is the video for you. So let's look at the first game on our list. Clare Obscure Expedition 33. So if you're into RPGs with a mix of mystery, strategy, and emotional storytelling, Clare Obscure Expedition 33 is one you really want to check out. Released in April 2025, this game's got a unique vibe, blending dark fantasy with a touch of French history, specifically the Belle Epoque period. You play as Gustave, a member of an expeditionary team, trying to stop this mysterious figure known as the Paintress, who seems to be behind a series of strange disappearances every year. It's not just your typical fantasy game, it's got a lot of layers, with emotional beats and a deep story that keeps you invested all way. What really makes the game stand out is the combat system. It's not just your usual turn-based battle style. Sure, it's turn-based, but there's this real-time twist. While you take turns, you also have the chance to dodge and parry attacks, which gives it a more fluid, active feel compared to most turn-based systems. You're always engaged, which keeps fights from feeling slow or tedious. On top of that, each character in your team can equip Picta, which are basically buffs that help you in battle. But here's the cool part. Those Pictos can turn into Luminas, which are even more powerful abilities that create crazy synergies between characters. So there's a lot of strategy involved, and figuring out the best combinations is super satisfying. Visually, the game is just stunning. The environments have this painterly, almost dreamlike quality to them, which fits perfectly with the mysterious and dark tone of the game. It's the kind of world that pulls you in and makes you want to explore every inch of it, whether you're wandering through eerie forests, crumbling castles, or foggy city streets. Every place feels alive with detail. The lighting, textures, and even the little environmental touches just add to that immersive vibe. But it's not just about looks. The emotional storytelling is top-notch. As you progress, you get to know each of the characters, and their personal stories really add depth to the overall plot. There are some heavy moments, especially when you start unraveling the mystery of the Paintress and the connections between the characters. The orchestral soundtrack ties everything together perfectly. It's not just background noise, but something that enhances the emotional weight of each scene. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If you loved the first one, this is like the next level. You're still playing as Henry, the blacksmith's son turned warrior, but this time things are even bigger, better, and way more immersive. The game is set in 15th century Bohemia, and the world is absolutely massive, twice the size of the original, and it's all open world, so you can explore pretty much everything. Visually, this game is gorgeous. The team at Warhorse Studios has really pushed the CryEngine to make the landscapes look stunning. From the rolling hills and dense forests to the bustling towns, everything just feels alive and real. You can really see how much effort has gone into making the world feel authentic. The lighting, the textures, even the way the weather changes, it's all designed to pull you right into that medieval setting. But when it comes to combat, Kingdom Come 2 delivers in spades. It's still that same complex melee system where you need to be precise with your timing and positioning. You've got swords, bows, and even early firearms, and you can use them all while riding your horse, which just makes everything feel even more epic. The combat isn't just about hitting things, it's about reading your opponent and timing your moves. It's tough, but super rewarding once you get the hang of it. But here's the cool part. Kingdom Come 2 really deepens the role-playing aspect. Your choices matter more than ever. There are new dialogue skills like appearance, coercion, and dominate that let you change the way you interact with people. Whether you want to talk your way out of a fight, intimidate someone, or just charm them, it's all on you. The world reacts to your decisions, so you really feel the weight of your actions. And let's not forget about the soundtrack. The orchestral music adds so much to the atmosphere. It really brings those big epic moments to life. Whether you're charging into battle or just riding through the countryside, the music makes everything feel more intense.
So you have no clue where that glitch might be?
The Split Fiction. Alright, if you're looking for a game that's all about teamwork, wacky worlds, and a ton of laughs, Split Fiction is your jam. Developed by Hazelight Studios, the same folks behind It Takes Two, this game is a wild ride from start to finish. You and your friends step into the shoes of Mio and Zoe, two writers who get trapped in a bizarre simulation of their own making. Here's the twist. Mio's all about sci-fi and Zoe's into fantasy. So, What do you get when those two collide? Dragons, cyber ninjas, magic, and high-tech mayhem. Yeah, it's as crazy as it sounds. The game's built for 2 players, either locally or online, and it's cross-play between PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. That means you and your friend can team up no matter what platform you're on, and the best part, only one of you needs to own the game thanks to the Friends Pass.
Whoa! Oh, there we go.
Hazelight nailed the co-op experience again, with puzzles that make you think, moments that make you laugh, and some serious, did we really just do that kind of moments? Each level in Split Fiction feels like a completely new experience. You're constantly switching between the 2 worlds of Mio and Zoe, and it never feels repetitive. The mechanics change up depending on where you're at, which keeps the gameplay feeling fresh. It's like every level is a new episode of a crazy, ever-shifting story. The game is designed to keep you on your toes, and you'll find yourself having to really work together to get through the challenges, which is what makes it so fun. You can't just rush through things, you need your buddy to get things done. Stellar Blade. So Stellar Blade is one of those games that just hits different. It's got slick combat, amazing visuals, and a kind of anime meets sci-fi vibe that's honestly super fun to play through. You play as Eve, a super skilled soldier who gets dropped into a destroyed Earth to fight off these freaky alien creatures called the Nativas. The story starts off kind of mysterious, but you quickly get pulled into this mix of action, emotion, and some weird techie future stuff. What makes Stellar Blade really pop is the combat. It's super smooth, lots of dodging, parrying, and pulling off these stylish combos that feel so good when you nail them. There's also this energy system where you charge up powerful moves the more clean hits and blocks you land. It's one of those games where once you get into the flow, you feel like a total beast. And yet, this game looks amazing. We're talking full-on next-gen graphics, the lighting, the character design, the world, everything just looks sharp. Even the animations are clean and satisfying. It's got a bit of that Nier Automata vibe with a more modern polish, and it really shows off what the PS5 can do. The world's semi-open, so while it's not a huge open-world game, there's plenty to explore. You'll find hidden spots, side quests, little environmental puzzles, and gear upgrades scattered around. Plus, there are a bunch of different outfits you can unlock for Eve, so you can switch up her look as you go. The story's decent. It's got some emotional beats, a little mystery, and enough to keep you hooked without getting in the way of the action. Honestly, if you're here for deep storytelling, you might not get that, but if you want awesome gameplay with a cool vibe, Stellar Blade delivers big time. So yeah, if you're looking for a visually stunning, fast-paced action game to get lost in for a weekend or two, this is a solid pick. It's only on PS5 for now, but a PC version's coming soon. Definitely worth a shot if you're into stylish single-player games. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Alright, so Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is finally out, and man, it's such a fun ride. If you grew up watching indie movies or just love a good treasure hunting adventure, this game's totally your jam. You play as Indy, the Indiana Jones, and you're off chasing ancient secrets, solving old school puzzles, dodging traps, and throwing punches at Nazis. It's got that classic movie vibe, but you're actually in it this time. Up going on, the story's set in the late 1930s, and you travel all over the world, from jungles to snowy mountains to creepy tombs. Every place looks amazing, especially on PS5. The graphics are super sharp, and the lighting and details just pull you right in. The game mixes first-person exploration with third-person action scenes, and it flows really well. 1 second you're exploring ruins, and the next you're in a full-on brawl or running from some collapsing structure. The combat feels solid, too. You've got Indy's whip, fists, and even guns when you need them. But it's not just about fighting. The puzzles are actually fun, and they don't feel like they're getting in the way. It all fits into the story and makes you feel like you're really uncovering something. What's cool is that even though this game started as an Xbox title, it runs great on PS5 now. Super smooth, quick load times, and the haptic feedback makes things feel more real, like you can feel the whip snap or the tension when you're climbing stuff. Troy Baker voices Indy, and he does a solid job bringing that charm and grit we all know. Blackmyth Wukong. This is one of those games where you boot it up and immediately think, yep, this is going to be something special. You play as this mysterious warrior, basically a new take on the legendary Monkey King, and you're just thrown into this insanely cool, myth-heavy version of ancient China. The game's vibe is kind of like Elden Ring meets Journey to the West, but with its own flavor. The combat, it's slick, weighty, and super satisfying. You've got this magical staff that can stretch and spin and do all kinds of crazy moves. Plus, you get access to powers like transforming into animals or summoning stuff mid-fight. It's the kind of game where you die a lot at first, but once it clicks, you feel like an unstoppable legend. The story isn't spoon-fed, but that's kind of the charm. It's more about the journey, the mood, the world around you. It drops little pieces of lore here and there, and you slowly start piecing together what's going on as you fight your way forward. Bottom line, if you've got a PS5 or a good PC and you love action games with a bit of mystery and a whole lot of style, Wukong is a no-brainer. It's fun, it's hard, it's gorgeous, and it's got some serious soul. Silent Hill 2 Remake. You play as James Sunderland, this regular guy who gets a letter from his wife, except she's been dead for years. That alone is creepy, right? So he heads to the foggy, cursed town of Silent Hill to find out what's going on, and from there, things just get darker and more twisted. The story hits heavy, grief, guilt, trauma. It's not just about monsters, it's about the stuff we carry inside us. Actually, this game looks amazing. Built-in Unreal Engine 5, the fog, the lighting, the disturbing creature designs, it all feels way more real and way more terrifying. The original game had that lo-fi eerie charm, but this version ramps up the realism without losing that uncomfortable psychological horror vibe. They also modernized the gameplay, which is great. The controls feel tighter, the over-the-shoulder camera makes everything more immersive, and they added small tweaks to make exploring and fighting smoother without turning it into a full-on action game. It's still slow, tense, and deliberately paced, just way more playable for today. The sound design is top tier too. Like, play this with headphones and you'll be looking over your shoulder constantly. The soundtrack still slaps, and they brought back Akira Yamaoka to rework the original music, which was the perfect move. If you're into horror or even just want a story that really gets under your skin, this is a must play. Silent Hill 2 Remake stays true to what made the original special while giving it a fresh, modern look and feel. It's creepy, emotional, and honestly just super well done. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii? This one's a trip, in the best way. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is exactly as wild as it sounds. You're playing as Goro Majima, yes, the madman himself, who somehow wakes up on a Hawaiian island with no memory of how he got there. Next thing you know, he's rocking an eye patch, a pirate coat, and leading his own crew on a ridiculous treasure hunt. It's peak Yakuza chaos, and honestly, it rules. The game mixes classic Yakuza brawling with full-on pirate stuff. So yeah, you're still drop-kicking dudes into vending machines, but now you're also doing sword fights on ships, customizing your own crew, and blasting enemy ships with cannons. When you board another ship, it turns into this wild beatdown where you're wrecking everything in sight. It's over the top, but in that fun, self-aware way this series always nailed. And of course, it's not just fighting. You've got karaoke, kart racing, random oddball side quests. There's one about helping a guy find love in the middle of all the pirate madness, and even retro Sega arcade games stashed around the world. The world itself is super fun to explore. You've got sunny beaches, shady islands full of sketchy pirates, and even some secret areas that'll remind fans of Infinite Wealth. It doesn't try to be deep or gritty, it just wants you to have a good time, and it totally delivers. The vibe is chill, goofy, and packed with stuff to do, which makes it perfect for fans of the series, or anyone who just wants something different and fun to sink into. Days Gone. Days Gone kind of flew under the radar when it first came out, but man, it deserves more love. It's one of those games that just pulls you in once you give it a chance. You play as Deacon St. John, a rough-around-the-edges biker living in a post-apocalyptic Oregon overrun by freakers, basically super aggressive zombie-like creatures. But here's the thing, the game's not really about the zombies, it's about Deacon, his past, his people, and the quiet moments in between all the chaos. The open world is honestly stunning. You've got dense forests, snowy mountains, abandoned towns, all of it just dripping with atmosphere. Riding your bike across the map feels great, and you really have to take care of it. Fuel up, repair it, all that stuff. It makes every trip feel a little more personal and real. What really hits though is the story. At first, it seems like your typical tough guy survivor stuff, but it slowly reveals a lot more heart. You see Deacon go from just surviving day to day to actually trying to build something again. The flashbacks with his wife, the bonds with other survivors. It's low-key emotional in a way that sneaks up on you. The combat's a mix of stealth, crafting, and all-out chaos, especially when you're dealing with hordes. And the hordes? Legit terrifying. We're talking 100 plus freakers swarming you in real time. It's one of the few times a game actually made me panic, like, nope, not ready for this. It's not perfect, there's some jank here and there, and the pacing can be slow early on, but if you stick with it, Days Gone delivers a really solid, underrated open world story with heart, tension, and a ton of memorable moments. God of War Ragnarok. This game is everything you'd want from a big story-driven adventure. It's the follow-up to the 2018 God of War, and it takes everything that game did right and cranks it up even more. We're back with some Kratos and Atreus, this time dealing with the whole mess that is Norse mythology's end-of-the-world event, Ragnarok. The story dives deep into their father-son relationship, with Atreus growing up, questioning his place in the world, and kind of pushing back against Kratos' usual punch first, talk later style. Gameplay-wise, it's just tight. The combat is brutal but smart. You've got your axe, your blades, new weapons, new powers, and it all feels weighty and satisfying. Every hit lands with force, but there's also strategy to it, and the enemies aren't just cannon fodder, they actually make you think. The world is massive and gorgeous. You're visiting all 9 realms this time, each one packed with secrets, puzzles, side quests, and some jaw-dropping visuals. Whether you're riding wolves through snow or battling massive creatures in lava-filled ruins, there's always something cool around the corner. If you're into cinematic games with deep stories and killer action, God of War Ragnarok is hands down one of the best reasons to own a PS5. No excuses. This one's a must-play. Spider-Man 2. This game is just pure fun from start to finish. You get to play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, and switching between them is super smooth. Each of them has their own vibe. Peter's got that symbiote suit with crazy aggressive powers, while Miles brings his signature electric venom abilities. Both feel awesome in combat, and swinging through the city is still the most satisfying thing ever. What really makes this game shine, though, is just how alive everything feels. New York looks amazing. You've got Queens and Brooklyn now, too. And there's always something happening. Side quests don't feel like filler. There's cool little character moments tucked into random corners of the map, and everything just flows together so well.
Not on my watch. Little advice for you bad guys?
It's also one of those games that really shows off what the PS5 can do. Instant loading, buttery smooth frame rates, gorgeous lighting, it just feels next level. Plus, all the small details like the haptic feedback in the controller when you're swinging or landing punches really pull you in. If you liked the first Spider-Man or Miles Morales, this is a no-brainer. And if you haven't played those yet, honestly, this is a great excuse to dive into the whole series. It's fun, it's emotional, it's flashy, it's just everything you want in a big superhero game. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Rift Apart is just straight up good vibes. Like, you boot it up and instantly feel like a kid again, but with the bonus of next-gen visuals that'll make your jaw drop. It's bright, it's loud in a fun way, and it's the kind of game that doesn't stress you out, it just wants you to have a good time. You're jumping through entire dimensions in real time, no loading screens, no weird transitions, just boom. Whole new world in a second. It's not just a gimmick either. It makes exploration feel super fresh. 1 minute you're in a neon lit alien city, the next you're flying through a desert storm chasing robot pirates. It's chaos, but in the best possible way. And characters? Honestly charming. Ratchet and Clank are still the heart of the show, but Rivet steals a bunch of scenes. She's got this badass but kind energy, and her bond with the new Robo-Buddy kit gives the game a surprising emotional core, like it sneaks up on you mid-blaster fight. And don't even get me started on the weapons. Insomniac clearly had a blast designing these. You've got guns that launch mini black holes, sprinkle confetti explosions, turn baddies into furniture. It's ridiculous, but it works. Every fight feels like a playground, and it keeps throwing new toys at you all the way through. But if you just want to kick back, smile, and lose yourself in a world that looks like a playable animated movie, Rift Apart is that game. It's wholesome chaos, and honestly, we need more of that. Demon Souls. This one's for the folks who like a little pain with their pleasure. It's a full remake of the 2009 classic that basically started the whole Soulsborne craze, and man, Blue Point Games did not mess around. Visually, it's straight up jaw-dropping. The lighting, the atmosphere, the enemy designs, everything feels dark and heavy in the best way. It's not just creepy, it's beautifully creepy. And it runs buttery smooth, which matters a lot when every frame can mean the difference between life and death. Gameplay? Still brutally unforgiving. You mess up, you die. You get cocky, you die. But when you finally beat that boss that's been stopping you for the last hour, it feels amazing. The combat is slow and deliberate. You're not mashing buttons here. Every move, every dodge, every block matters. And because this is a remake, they kept the core of the original, but cleaned up all the jank, so it just feels better. There's also this weird, mysterious vibe that makes the game super unique. It doesn't hold your hand, there's no big exposition dump, you kind of just get dropped into this broken, cursed world and have to figure stuff out. It's frustrating sometimes, but also super rewarding when it clicks. Bottom line, Demon's Souls is not for everyone, but if you're up for a challenge and want a dark, gorgeous game that'll really test your skills and patience, it's 100% worth diving into. Just don't throw your controller, alright?
Takes one hit to detonate.
Horizon Forbidden West. You play as Aloy again. She's smart, strong, and super determined. She's heading into a whole new part of the world this time called the Forbidden West. It's full of crazy landscapes like giant deserts, thick jungles, snowy mountains, and even underwater cities you can swim through. Every place looks stunning and totally different from the last. The world is just packed with things to do. You can explore at your own pace, take on side quests, talk to cool characters, find hidden stuff, or just ride around on robot animals and enjoy the view. It never gets boring. Even just walking through the world is fun because there's always something new to see. And the machines? Still the stars of the show. There are robot dinosaurs, snakes, elephants, birds, you name it. Some of them are small and fast, others are massive and terrifying. You can fight them using your bow, traps, and all sorts of gadgets. But it's not just button mashing, you gotta think. Each machine has weak spots and you can scan them to figure out the best way to take them down. It's like solving a puzzle while in the middle of a big action scene. The story's cool too. It goes deep into the past and future of the world, and there's some emotional stuff in there, especially with the people Aloy meets along the way. You can really tell the developers put a lot of heart into the characters and the writing. If you want a big, exciting game that's also chill to explore, Horizon Forbidden West is a perfect pick. It's got action, adventure, a great main character, and one of the best looking game worlds out there.
Don't worry.
Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. Oh, if you're a fan of Uncharted, you probably already know how awesome these games are, and the Legacy of Thieves collection brings all that action to the PS5 in an even better way. This collection includes Uncharted 4: A Thief's End and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, both of which have been remastered to take full advantage of the PS5's power. You get to follow Nathan Drake in Uncharted 4, one of the most cinematic and emotional adventures in the series. It's a perfect mix of heart-pounding action and deep storytelling. The story in both games is top tier. Uncharted 4 is a conclusion to Nathan Drake's journey, diving into his past and putting him in tough situations that make you question everything about his life. And The Lost Legacy gives you a fresh perspective with a new main character, Chloe, who's just as likable and tough as Nate. If you've never played these games before, now's your chance to experience some of the best action-adventure gaming has to offer. And if you've already played them, the PS5 upgrade makes this a perfect excuse to jump back in for an even better experience. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that completely pulls you into its world. Set in feudal Japan, you play as Jin Sakai, a samurai who has to navigate a brutal world after the Mongol invasion. It's not just a game about slashing through enemies, it's about honor, sacrifice, and finding your own way in a world where the rules are constantly changing. The visuals in Ghost of Tsushima are just insane. The landscapes look like they're straight out of a painting. From the rolling hills to the bamboo forests, the game makes you feel like you're walking through a living, breathing samurai movie, and that's something not many games can pull off. The wind even guides you to your next objective, which sounds simple, but it really adds to the immersion. combat is another highlight. It's fast, fluid, and satisfying, but also strategic. You can choose between different stances that are effective against different types of enemies. So there's a real sense of progression as you get better at the game. And the way Jin moves in battle, there's something so smooth about it. When you pull off a perfectly timed counter or take down a group of enemies in a single sweep, it feels amazing. As for the narrative, Jin has to make tough choices about honor, survival, and what it means to be a samurai. You're constantly torn between staying true to tradition or doing whatever it takes to protect your people, and that inner conflict is what makes the narrative so compelling. Plus, the side content isn't just filler. Whether you're taking on a side quest or hunting for collectibles, it feels like you're exploring the heart of Japan, not just ticking off a to-do list. So, if you're into samurai, stunning visuals, and a deep emotional story, Ghost of Tsushima is definitely a game you don't want to miss. Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 is a game that's all about connection, whether it's the relationship between Joel and Ellie, or the way the world pulls you in with every little detail. The remake on PS5 takes everything that made the original so amazing and gives it a serious visual upgrade. But beyond just looking stunning, the game's heart and soul are still the same, and that's what makes it such a powerful experience. Joel and Ellie's journey through a post-apocalyptic world is intense and emotional. You really feel for these characters. The world they're in is harsh, and there's no sugarcoating it. The zombies called clickers aren't the only threat. Human nature, greed, and desperation make the world even more dangerous, and the game forces you to question the choices you make along the way. The story hits hard with themes of loss, survival, and doing what it takes to protect those you love. Every step of the way you feel that connection between the characters, and it's what drives the entire experience. Gameplay-wise, The Last of Us Part 1 is a mix of stealth, combat, and exploration. You'll spend a lot of time sneaking past enemies or taking them out silently, because ammo is scarce and running in guns blazing can quickly turn into a nightmare. The AI is smart, so you can't just hide behind cover all the time. You've got to think ahead, manage resources, and use the environment to your advantage. It's tough, but that's what makes it so satisfying when you pull off a successful takedown. The world itself is hauntingly beautiful. There's this eerie calm to it where nature is slowly reclaiming cities, and you'll find yourself in these abandoned areas that feel like they're frozen in time. It's such a haunting contrast, like you're walking through the remains of civilization. And the sound design is on another level. The clickers make an unforgettable noise that'll send chills down your spine. And the soundtrack is full of moments that make you pause and reflect. But let's not forget the emotional punch. The story, the writing, and the character development are all top-notch. The Last of Us Part 1 does an incredible job of making you care about these characters, and even after everything that happens, you'll be thinking about it long after the credits roll. So if you haven't played it yet, or if it's been a while, the PS5 version is the perfect excuse to dive back into this masterpiece. It's a gut-wrenching, gripping, and beautiful experience from start to finish. The remake just makes everything feel fresh, but the soul of the game is as powerful as ever.
What you say goes.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. If you're a fan of Star Wars and love immersive action-adventure games, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is definitely one you'll want to check out. It picks up the story of Cal Kestis, the young Jedi survivor from Fallen Order, and it takes everything that made the first game so great and makes it even better. It's a perfect mix of high-stakes lightsaber combat, platforming, and exploration in a galaxy far, far away. The combat in Jedi Survivor is even more refined than in the first game. Cal's lightsaber skills are smoother, and the Force powers are just as satisfying to use, whether you're taking down stormtroopers, battling massive beasts, or facing off against other Force users. The fights feel intense and rewarding. You've got more options this time around, like dual lightsabers or even a crossguard saber, which is awesome if you love mixing things up during battles. Plus, the Force abilities are creatively incorporated into combat and puzzles, keeping things fresh. The world building in Jedi Survivor is top tier. You'll travel to new planets that feel fully alive, with tons of nooks and crannies to explore. There's a real sense of scale, especially in the larger areas, where you'll feel like you're truly stepping into the Star Wars universe. The environmental storytelling is great too. Places that were once full of life now feel abandoned, adding a layer of depth to the experience. Visually, the game looks gorgeous. The lighting effects, the vibrant colors of different planets, and the detailed character models make the game look like it came straight out of the movies. The way the lightsaber glows and reflects off the surroundings is particularly satisfying. It's one of those games where you just stop for a moment to take in the view. The story picks up after the events of Fallen Order, and Cal's journey is deeper, more personal, and full of tough choices. Without giving away spoilers, let's just say the narrative takes you to places you didn't expect, and there are plenty of emotional moments that tie into the larger Star Wars saga. The relationships Cal has with his allies are important, and seeing his evolution as a character is one of the highlights. If you've been looking for a game that lets you live out your Jedi fantasy while feeling like you're actually part of the Star Wars universe, Jedi Survivor delivers. The action is tight, the exploration is fun, and the story has that classic Star Wars feel with a personal twist. Plus, if you're a fan of Fallen Order, this one definitely takes everything you loved about it and builds on it in all the right ways. Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is here to take you on another mind-bending, eerie journey through the world of psychological horror, and it does not disappoint. If you love the first game, you're in for a treat, but even if you're new to the Alan Wake series, this sequel still pulls you in with its gripping story, chilling atmosphere, and a blend of action and mystery that keeps you on the edge of your seat. This time around, the story shifts between two characters, Alan Wake, who's still trapped in the twisted, dark world he got stuck in at the end of the first game, and FBI agent Saga Anderson, who's investigating a series of disturbing murders. Both storylines are compelling, and you're constantly switching between the two, each offering a different perspective and keeping you hooked. The narrative is layered with a lot of twists and turns, and it gets deep into themes of creativity, madness, and how far people will go to control their own fate. Visually, Alan Wake 2 is absolutely stunning. The atmosphere is everything in this game, and it nails that psychological horror vibe with creepy, foggy forests, eerie towns, and unsettling environments that make your skin crawl. There's a lot of focus on lighting too, and the way shadows play a role in the tension is just perfect. You'll find yourself constantly looking over your shoulder, even when you're not sure if something's lurking behind you. The combat is tighter this time around too. It still has the unique mechanic of using light to fight off the darkness, but the gameplay is more fluid, with smoother controls and better weapon choices. The balance between puzzle solving, exploration, and action is spot on, making every moment feel rewarding and thrilling. The supernatural enemies are just as creepy as ever, and the game keeps that constant feeling of unease without relying too much on jump scare. But it's really the atmosphere and storytelling that will stick with you long after you're done playing. Alan Wake 2 has this way of blending horror with psychological thriller elements that keep you questioning what's real and what's in Alan's head. It's not just about the scares, it's about the feeling of being trapped in a nightmare you can't escape. If you're into games that dive deep into mystery and horror with a heavy emphasis on story, Alan Wake 2 is a must-play. It's got the tension, the twists, and the creepy atmosphere that fans of the first game will love, but it also stands on its own as a solid horror experience. Plus, the narrative keeps you guessing the whole way through, and that's always a win in my book. Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 drops you right into the heart of Night City, a massive, chaotic, neon-lit future where every alley, club, and high-rise feels alive. You play as V, a mercenary with a chip in your head and a voice in your ear, literally. The story's all about power, identity, and survival in a world where tech runs everything and people will do anything to stay on top. What really makes this game hit is the vibe. Night City isn't just some backdrop, it feels like a living, breathing place. You'll run into all kinds of characters, each with their own stories, struggles, and weird little quirks. It's gritty, stylish, and weirdly beautiful in that dark, broken kind of way. You never know what you'll stumble into. One minute you're having a deep conversation with a rebel ex-cop, the next you're hacking into a corpo building or racing through the streets on a souped-up bike. The gameplay gives you a lot of freedom. You can go full stealth hacker, be a straight-up street samurai, or mix things up with cyberware and smart weapons. The choices you make actually matter, and your build really affects how you play. The story itself pulls you in, especially with Johnny Silverhand. Keanu Reeves adds a whole other layer of intensity to the game. And the side quests? Man, some of them hit just as hard as the main story. There are emotional moments, wild twists, and some real sit back and think about life kind of beats. It's one of those games where you finish a mission and just need a second to process. Cyberpunk 2077 isn't just cool, it's deep, stylish, and packed with unforgettable moments. It's the kind of game that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
Come out with your hands up!
A Plague Tale Requiem. This one's heavy, but in the best kind of way. A Plague Tale Requiem is the follow-up to Innocence, and if you played that, you already know you're in for an emotional ride. You're back with Amicia and her little brother, Hugo, just trying to survive in a world that's falling apart. There's a plague, there's war, there's literal waves of rats everywhere, and somehow these two kids are right in the middle of it. Misha's a total badass in the most realistic way. She's not a superhero, she's just a big sister doing everything she can to protect her brother. And Hugo, man, you just want to give the kid a hug. He's dealing with this creepy, supernatural thing inside him, and it's getting worse and more dangerous. And yeah, it's intense. The gameplay is mostly stealth with a bit of combat and puzzle solving mixed in. You're sneaking around, using fire and light to keep the rats off you, distracting guards, and just trying to stay alive. It's not about being flashy, it's about being smart. Every move feels like it matters, and that adds to the tension in a cool way. But what really makes this game hit is the vibe. The world is gorgeous and messed up at the same time. One second you're walking through a sunny field, the next you're wading through destruction. The music is haunting, the voice acting is on point, and the story just keeps you hooked the whole way through. It's emotional, it's raw, and it's got heart. If you're into games with strong characters and real storytelling, A Plague Tale Requiem is one of those games you won't forget.
The gate is closed, Captain. What do we do?
Let me see.